Hello guys, I don't know what the error I'm getting. Let me to close this. Uh, in this video, I will demonstrate one dummy project regarding the Spring Data JPA and REST API. So for this, we required Postman. But why we required Postman? I just need to show it to you. Let me to show this. As like I'm searching best voice photos on anything whatever you want to search. Here I am searching this. Go to any of the URL, just copy and paste. Just wait, let it be open. My data is a little bit slow, that's why it is coming. Here is, you can see this is the URL for this. Whenever I am searching here best voice photos, it means that I am sending one request to the Google. I'm sending one request to the Google that I want best voice photos. Google will search the whole website and it will check the URL having best voice photos tag. If whatever the URL will be there, it will be given to you. Let me to copy this, and inside the Postman, this is the Postman application that I have downloaded. Go to new and paste it here and send this. Whenever you will send this, just wait for the response. It is giving here the responses in the visualizer, in the preview, sorry, in the preview you can see whatever the photo was there in my Google Chrome, the same photo is appeared here. If you don't believe, let me to hmm. You can see here these photos, whatever the photos you have seen from in the Google Chrome, the same photo is there appear here. But what is the problem that I'm not using this browser, I'm using this Postman? Because browser will provide only search engine. The basic agenda of Google Chrome or any other browser is it will provide one search engine. Search engine will allow you to retrieve the data. If you want to fetch the data, then browser will be the perfect for you. Here I'm just searching best voice photos and it is giving me result output. It is retrieving and giving data to me. I am trying to retrieve the best voice photos. That is my basic agenda. But there will be some condition where I don't want to retrieve the data. I want to send the data to the server. Then this browser will be fail, because this browser is only work for retrieving the data. Retrieving the data means get mapping. Retrieving the data means get mapping. So it will always try to retrieve the data, but I want to send the data to the server. To send the data to the server, Postman is the best tool for API testing. You can test your API using Postman. That's why we require Postman. And post mapping means sending the data to the server. Mostly we are using post mapping as it is secure. Here you can see it is giving the full path, http/photos handsome boy, like this. But when you will use post mapping, automatically these all things will be hidden from you. Understood? Let's say this is my Instagram user ID and password. If your user ID and password will be reflecting to your URL, anybody can use that. Anybody can access your Instagram. That's why it is better recommended to use the post mapping. What the post mapping is get mapping in, I will explain it to you. For this, I am creating one dummy project. Go here, create one Spring Boot starter. This is Spring Boot starter. RestCrud. I don't want RestCrud. My project name is REST JPA, because I will use Spring Data JPA. That's why I'm writing here as Spring JPA. Then after that, go to next. Here I need some dependencies, as like I required Spring Web. The another thing is I require Lombok, I required MySQL, and I required Spring Data JPA. This is my final requirement. After that, let me to finish this. let the project to be created. Here you can see the project has been created, and automatically in the dependency it is building. Just wait for some time, it will build. After doing everything, you can see in the pom.xml all the dependencies came. We don't need to configure anything. Let it be open. Here you can see all the dependencies is there. There is one tag, exclude tag. Come here, you can see here exclude tag is there. Exclude tags means it will exclude this. It is excluding my Lombok API. Just remove this out. I don't want this. Save this, and as I have changed anything in pom.xml, I need to update my Maven. So I'm updating my Maven project. That's it. That's what I am doing. Then after that, you can see src main Java is there. Let me to create one class for this. I am creating one product class. Package is not required. Product. This is my product class. In product class, I have some instance variables as like a private int id, product id. Yeah, product id I'm writing here. The fully qualified name, product id, private string, product name. Like this I'm doing for private double product price. Like this I'm doing. These are my three things. Whenever I will write at the rate data, data is there, sorry. Whenever I'm writing at the rate data and saving it, you can see here, I'm doing control O, you can see here, I am getting getter, setter, equals method, hash code method, toString method, and one noargs constructor. I'm getting all these things. I don't need to configure, I don't need to write anything. Here I'm taking one all-args constructor. This is Lombok API, this is nothing. This is just Lombok API. Whenever you will write at the rate data, it will generate whatever it will generate. Let me to write here in the comment. It will generate getter, setter, toString, equals, hash code, and noargs constructor. These all things is generated by at the rate data. But if you want all args constructor, as like there is three instance variable, I need a constructor having all these three parameter, then you will go for at the rate all args constructor. This is Lombok API. Then after that, as I just want to whatever the data will be in the product, I want to store that data in my database. So I need to create one database here. Understood? So for that I am writing here at the rate entity. It is in Jakarta.persistence. This at the rate entity is used to create the table. Previously in JDBC we are creating the table. We are writing select star from EMP, or we are writing insert query. Like this we are writing. But in Spring Data JPA you don't need to write any query. Just write the logic, automatically it will be connecting with your database. You don't need to write anything. This is at the rate entity is coming from Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA. This Spring Data JPA help us to communicate with my database. This Spring Data JPA is internally using the Hibernate. Hibernate is ORM mapping tool. As like ORM means object relational mapping. It means you need to, there is one object, product object. You need to store that object to my database, or vice versa. Means you need to get the data from your database in the form of object. Then Hibernate will play an important role on that. Here, as I am writing at the rate entity here, automatically this class name table will be created. One table will be created automatically in my schema, and that table name will be product. Understood? This is at the rate entity to create the table in database. The table in database. This @entity is used to create the table in database. Now if you want to change the table name, as I am not given any table name, automatically the table name will be product. If you have not given any name, then your class name will be your table name. But if you want to change this, you can use @table underscore bracket name is equal to, let's say anything, whatever the table name I just want to, product details. Let's say I am writing here this, so the table name will be product details now. Understood? If you want, you can change this, but I don't want to change this. My table name is product. This is enough for me. Understood right now? Then after that, as I am writing one class that will generate one table, so every table has one primary key now. So to make any variable as primary, I am writing here @id. Understood? javax.persistence.id. This is @id. At which variable you will write @id, that variable become the primary key. Understood? Here I am writing @id just above to my product id. You can see just at the top of my product id I am writing id. So product id, this will be my primary key. Understood? So after that, generated value, after that generation type, strategy generation type dot identity. Why I have written this @generated value? Because here I don't want to give product id. I want auto increment. This line will auto increment my id. Auto increment will be there in my database table. I don't need to write one for product id, second product id. Automatically the product will come. Automatically it will be generated. Understood? This is for the auto increment. After that, everything is configured till now. And if you want to change any column name, then you have one more query, @column, yeah, @column, and you can write here name is equal to, as like I am writing p name. Now the whenever the table will be created, this product name table will be p name. Understood? By this you can change the table column name. Understood? Let me to comment this. I don't require this. Understood? This is my Spring Data JPA that I have used. Then after that, for Spring Data JPA, let me to create one interface. Sorry, not class. I need to create one interface. Right click, new, create one interface, product repository. Let me to write it a product repository, as it is interlinking with my database. That's why repository is much better. This interface will implement extends, because one interface is extending another interface. Sorry, extends, it is extends ex control space extends JPA control space JPA repository product and integer. Why I'm writing, I'm explaining it to you. Let me to write this at first. int product is there, not product is there. You can see there is no any compilation error. Here I have created one interface name as product repository, which is extending the JPA repository. This JPA repository is containing all the methods that I will connect with my database. Understood? So my interface is implementing JPA repository, and JPA repository implemented class is simple JPA repository, and its parent is CRUD repository, CRUD repository. Understood? Here I am passing two arguments here. The first argument is which class data I want to insert. I want to insert product class data. That's why I'm writing class name as product. Understood? And this second is integer, because in product class, what my primary key is of which type? You can see here I am writing at the rate id. At the whenever I will write at the rate id to any variable, that variable will become the primary key of that table. Here it is written at the top of product id. You can see in the this is my product id variable. At the top of this variable, at the rate id is there. So this product id will be my primary key, and it is of which type? Integer type. That's why. And in generics, int is not allowed. Int is not allowed, so you need to write here integer. Understood? That's why the second argument is integer, the primary key of that table. Understood? This is my second. Then after that, let me to create one service so that I can write all the logics whatever is there required. Product service is there. Product service. Here at the top of this class, let me to write at the rate service. I am writing here at the rate service because this at the rate service is a part of at the rate component. Whenever you will write at the rate component to any class, automatically that class object will be created and stored in the IOC container. This is at the rate component. Whenever you will write at the rate component to any class, that class object will be created and stored in the IOC container. This is at the rate component. So this at the rate component is splitted into three parts. This at the rate component has three derived annotation. The first one is service, at the rate service that I have written here. The second one is controller, at the rate controller. Let me to write at the rate here. You can understand this is derived, at the rate controller. And the third one is at the rate repository. The whatever the efficiency of this component is, the same lies with these all three annotation. Whenever I am writing here at the rate service here, you can see I am writing at the rate service here. So when my program will be executed, this class object will be created and stored in the IOC container. As I have written at the rate service, it is derived from at the rate component. Whatever the functionality will be there in at the rate component, the same functionality will be there for service, the same for controller, and the same for repository, because all these three interface is derived from at the rate component. Understood? So here I am writing at the rate service so that this class object will be created and stored in the IOC container. After that I am writing here public product repository repo. This is my product repository, and then I am writing at the rate autowired. I'm writing here at the rate autowired. Why I am doing this? Because as you can see in the product repository is implementing the JPA repository, and this JPA repository interface has all the methods that will interact with my database. So I need to pass one instance for that, and this JPA repository implemented class is simple JPA repository. Let me to open this. This is my JPA repository class. Wait, control shift F is there. No, control R. Simple JPA repository is there. It is not coming simple JPA repository here. So you need to go to Maven dependencies. As you can see, there is a lot of dependencies there. Spring Boot configuration. It will take some time. Here Spring Data JPA is there. In which package it should be? It will take some time. I need to find where this class is there, particular class is there, and it has a lot of dependency and lot of packages. the length of this video will be increased. So just understand that this JPA repository interface is implemented by simple JPA repository, and simple JPA repository interface is internally using @repository. So you don't need to write here @repository to this interface. You don't need to write this. If you want, you can write, but it is not required. So I am auto wiring it. It means this product repository interface, one instance will be there in my IOC container. I want that instance. What is auto wiring? Auto wiring means one object is already created in the IOC container. I want that object. It means auto wiring. This is, I'm explaining it one more time. As one object is created, as like I am writing here @service. When I am writing @service, this class object will be created and stored in the IOC container. After some time, I need that object that is created in the IOC. So to get the data, to get the object from IOC, I will write @autowired. Understood? After that, let me to write some method. Public product add product. This is my add method to add this. Understood? After that, I am writing here product. Sorry, I will take one product to insert. I required one product here. If I don't have the product, what I will insert? So I need to have one product here. I am writing here repo dot save, and I am passing here prod, my object, and I am returning here prod. Return prod. I am writing here just a simple method. This save method is coming from the repository. How it is coming? You can see I am calling repo dot. Repo is which type? Product repository type. Is this product repository is containing the save method? No, it is coming from JPA repository. Understood? It is coming from JPA repository. The save method is coming from JPA repository. JPA repository will support the Spring Data JPA. Understood? So I'm writing here @service. Understood? This is enough for now. After that, need to write one REST API program. So let me to create one product controller. This is my product controller. In the product controller, I will write here at first @REST controller. This @REST controller is combination of two things. Now let me to write this @REST controller is combination of two things. The first thing is @controller plus @response body. This is combination of these two things. If you will not write this @REST controller, then you need to write both of these things. You need to write @controller, @response body. So this annotation will singly give me both two. That's why we are using @REST controller. Then after that, I am writing here public what product service. I'm writing here instance as service. Why I am writing here? Let me to write autowired. Autowired. As I have explained you previously, whenever let me to open this. Whenever you will write @service to any class, this class I have written this at the top of product service class. Whenever you will write @service over any class, that class object will be created and stored in the IOC container. So I know that this class object will be there in my IOC container. I require that object. Understood? As it is already created, I require that object. That's why we are auto wiring this. Understood? Then after that, let me to write one method. Public uh, product, public product, add product data at the rate request mapping at the rate request param. At first I need to pass here name. ID is auto incremented. I don't need to give this ID. String name, comma, at the rate request param, double quotation, price, price, string double price, DOUBLEPRICE. Like this I'm writing here. After that, let me to keep it at the middle so that you will get it properly. Then after that, let me to start its curly braces. After that, as the method is there in my service dot what was my method name, add product, I'm passing it. Wait, let me to create one product object. Product p1 is equal to new product. I don't want this product. Where is my product? I want two args constructor. As ID is auto incremented now. ID is auto incremented. I don't require the ID. That's why I will create one constructor having two parameter. ID will not be there. Let me to create this generate. Control S. Let me to save this. Go here. And I don't need to pass this. Bracket is missing, that's why it is giving problem. And here I am passing here p1. Let me to pass here p1. Then after that I need to return p1. That's it, my method is completed. Now you need to write some param at the rate post mapping. As I am sending my data to my database, that's why I need to write here at the rate post mapping and giving some URL that add. This is my URL. It will work on my add URL. Understood? This is my final conclusion. Then after that, as I have, this is my whole program that I have written. After that, I will take a reference from my one project because I required the delegates. I have not remembered all of these things. If you will require, just comment in my video. I will send it to you. Control C. Let me to go to resources. Inside the resources, application.properties is there. Just paste this. This is my product DB name. Understood? This is my schema product DB. Let me to at first let me to show you. So I need to delete all these things. Just wait. Let the SQL will be open. It is opening, and it is opened. Now wait. You can see one product DB schema is there. This is product DB. 4 tables is there. Let me to select all. I am selecting all and drop 5 tables. I'm dropping it. I don't require this table. You can see there is no table in my product DB. You can see my product DB is empty. There is no any table in my product DB. Then after that, where is my program? This is my program. Then after that, this is update. This is right. Everything is right. I think so. Now after that, let me to go to my main program. This is my main. This is my main application. Let me to run this. Run this application. Run as Spring Boot. I've written all these things. That's why. Let it be running. It is running. It is running. It is running. It is running. Here you can see I'm getting the database. The problem is failed to start. Port number 8080 is already in use. Oh, my port number is already in use. That's why it is giving the problem. It's okay. You can see automatically create table is called. This Hibernate is generating create table product. I have not written anything. I have just deleted the table. Now go to this table. Right click, refresh it. You can see one product table came. You can see product table came. I have not created this. This is generated by my Hibernate. I have not created this. Understood? And you can see here product ID is not null and auto incremented. As I have said, now I have written what I have written. I have written at the rate generated value. Just wait. Where is my product? This is my product. Wait. Here you can see my class name is product as I am not given table as name. Understood? This is my primary key. Why? Because I have written here at the rate ID and it is auto increment. Why? Because I have written at the rate generated value. Understood? The another things is there, product name varchar 2025 like this. But if you don't want, here you can see it, the size of product name is 255. You don't, I don't want to give this size. Then whatever you will do, at the rate column, then write length len control space length is equal to 50. I'm giving here 50 as length. I'm not giving a bigger length. You need to change something in your application dot properties. Why? Because this is update now. The database is already created. Oh wait, let me to delete that database. Let me to delete this database. Right click, drop table. I'm deleting this database. I'm deleting this table. The table is deleted. You can see there is no any table. After that, let me to run my program again. You can understand this. Console is closed. Let me to run this. Running. It will give that Tomcat server is already, Tomcat port number is already in use. Okay, I will configure that. You don't need to worry this. Already my program is running on port number 8080 in the background. That's why it is saying this. Now you can see the size become 50. At previous the size was 255. Now the size become 50. You can change according to your own. Then after that you can see the table is created. Now go to MySQL, just refresh this table, right click, refresh all, and you can see one table is created. This product table is created. If you are, let me to write one query here, use product db. I'm writing this, I'm using this product db. Wait, copy. I'm inside the product db. I'm writing here disk product. This is my table name. I'm saying describe my product table. So let me to fire this query, and you can see here the size is 50, and you can see this is primary. You can see this is primary. As I have written at the rate ID on, I have written at the rate ID now. That's why it become the primary key. The product ID is primary and auto incremented. You can see here. Then let me to make this problem at first. Let me to change my server port. Server dot port is equal to 8081. Let me to write 8081. I'm using 8081 port number. Let me to run this program at first. The table is already created and I am using update. That's why it won't create that table again. It won't create the table again. Now after that you can see nothing is came. I have just run my application and I have using Spring Web. That's why one Tomcat server is internally given to me. This Spring Boot will give one Tomcat server to you by default, and it is running on port number 8081. I have changed this to 8081. That's why it is working on 8081. Now you need to check what you need to check. Let me to check with the browser. The browser will fail. I have told you in the starting the browser will fail. Let me to check this. As the Tomcat server is running, here I am writing http localhost. I need to change this. What is happening here? My port number is 8081 and what was my URL? My URL was /student. What happened to this place? Let me to write here add. You can see you will get the problem. What is the problem? Method type not allowed. Why? This is 405. 405 means your method type is wrong. You are saying that you will send the post. You will send the post request and it is working only for the get request. Get means to retrieve the data and post means to send the data to the server. Here I am sending one data to my database. That's why I'm using post mapping. And you are saying that do it with this browser. This browser is fail. Now you need to work on Postman. Understood? You need to check the API that you have created is working perfectly fine or not. For that you need to work on Postman. Understood? This is the power of Postman. It work on any type of fields. Get, post, patch, everything. Now let me to copy this URL. I will not allow this. Let me to copy this whole URL. Control C. Let me to paste in my Postman. I'm writing here. I'm giving plus. I'm pasting here. Here it is taking true value query param. That's why I need to write here name. Let's say my name is Suraj. Then price. The price was there, PRICE, and the price is 54 rupees 90 paisa. This is my URL. If you will run this, it will again give the problem. Why? You can see 405, the same error. The same error you are getting now from in this part. You can see 405 method not allowed. Understood? And it is also giving the same problem 405 method not allowed. Why? Because you have given here as get mapping. You need to change it to post. Understood? Now it will work on post mapping. Now try this. And you can see one data has been came and go to this table MySQL. Go to MySQL table, right click on this, refresh this and check whether the data has been inserted in your product table or not. Select row and you can see one data has came. I've given one Suraj 545409. Automatically this data has came as I am sending the request from my Postman and it is inserting in my database. As like this I am doing all these things. Now let me to write another method for that. Get employee, get product by ID, like this. Product controller is this. At first I want product service. In the product service, right here public product get product by ID, and I am writing here int ID because I required one ID now. I will give one ID and it will give the product data. Understood? So here I am writing product p1 is equal to repo dot get by ID integer. Here I will pass ID. Understood? Dot get by ID. This is my method. Then after that you need to return this, return p1. This is the same thing. Get by ID dot get is there now. No, it's not required right now. Understood? Get by ID. Then after that go to your controller, as like the same method I am writing for in the controller. Understood? Let me to copy this whole method. I'm copying it. I will change the name only. You can understand this. Add nahi, get product data. This method name is get product data and it is taking one param. The param is, I don't require the param here at first because I am giving one data now. I will try to do this with @path variable. I don't want the param. What is opened here? @path variable. Int ID is there. Int ID is there. Here I will pass p1 service product p1 service dot get product by ID and I'm passing here ID, the simple ID, and then I'm returning here p1. Control S. and here my mapping will be product get product and then slash curly braces id. This is my whole thing that I have given. After that, as I am written this, let me to run this again, because as I have given all these things, that's why I need to run it again. So run this application, and you can see it is updating, and then I think that it is working. So go to the postman, click on new, right here http colon, it will change the data. You don't need to change anything. What was my URL? Wait. My URL was, let me to go here. What was my get product is my URL. Control C and paste in the postman /1 and then send it. Sending it, it is saying acha method not allowed. I have not changed to post because it is post mapping now. That's why. 500 internal server problem. Why the server problem is there? My server is internally running now. Let me to check. Oh sorry, one exception came. What is the exception? Let me to check this. This is a little bit big exception, I think so. So no such method exception is there. Why this is giving some exception? Bytecode failed protected private default entity form.example private constructor won't work on runtime proxies. Go at the top. No, maybe I think so. I've run this with get, that's why it is giving some problem. Let me to run it again and then see whether it is working perfectly fine or not. If there will be any problem, it will be reflected to us. Just wait and run this again. It is running. um, yeah, here we go. Now let me to send this. Don't give. It is again giving internal server problem. Why it is giving? Here I'm writing http localhost get product /1. The /1 is there now. I think the /1 is there. The same thing. /id is there. So what can be the problem? Right here at the rate double quotation id. Actually it is not required, but maybe this will be the problem. It is not trying to fetch that product, that's why it is saying like this. So run this again. This is post mapping. Yeah, just remember this is post mapping. What is the problem? Let me to run this again. This is internal server problem. It is, there is something problem in my server, Tomcat server. This is not on that part. 500 is internal server problem. So it is saying service in the context throw an exception JPA bytecode enhanced because no public private protected default constructor. It is saying that no public constructor is there, no public private protected constructor is there. Okay, I will do one thing. I will create manually one no args constructor here. Let me to create here. Right click, source, generate constructor using fields. I don't need any field. Just select all and generate it. And one no args constructor is here. Let me to minimize this and let me to run it again and see what will be the problem. Running. I'm maximizing it. You can see again the port number problem. I'm not close that port number, I'm sorry. I need to change it to 8082. I forget to close the port number by mistakenly. I forget. So just close this out. Just close this. I think that I have just closed that. Let me to check this that 8081 is still working or not. or any other application has taken 8081. Let me to check this. And yeah, here we go. There is no any problem, so it is working perfectly fine. Let me to send this data now. uh, Again 500 internal server problem. The server is not responding. I don't know why the server is not responding. Okay, do one thing. Maybe some problem will be there. Add, instead of at the rate path variable, I will use request param. Re control re request param id. This is my simple agenda. Then after that, let me to remove this slash id because I don't require. I'm not using the request param. I'm not using the path variable. That's why I don't require all of these things. Let me to run this again. Running my Tomcat server. My Tomcat server. Yeah, my Tomcat server has been started. Now go here, delete /1, and in the key pass id, and one data is there, so I'm passing here 1 and send this to it. Again it is giving 40 get product problem. Why it is giving the problem here? I'm not understanding. This is saying some dispatcher servlet bean serialization problem. Here it is one query is fired, that id name price where product id is this, but it is giving some problem. Servlet server dispatcher context through an exception request, processing failed, root cause, no serializable ledger for bytecode verification. What can I do in this? Service class is there. Okay, I will check this out, and in the next video I'll explain to you.